everyone to the Northern Neck Vigil. It is May 31st, 2024. It is day 1241 from January 6th. And welcome to our new temporary, maybe permanent location. But we wanted to get outside, enjoy the weather, and still support the J6ers. So as always, we'll start with a brief prayer. Heavenly Father, please watch over every one of these J6ers that are working their way through the system, receiving their awful sentences and preparing to go into the Bureau of Prisons. Please bless and watch over the J6ers that are continuing to be arrested on an almost daily basis, and of course the children that are affected by all this. And with your guiding strength and light, please lift everyone up to remember that we can overcome this injustice. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Woohoo! All right.
I can't have this.
So the big news today, of course, is
Trump got convicted.
Trump got convicted on all 34 counts.
You know, I find it impressive. You know, the J6ers got a 100% conviction rate. Then you go to Trump, and state of New York's got a 100% conviction for every charge without question, because nobody had to agree on anything.
He is doing what he needs to do, set precedents.
It's poetry in motion. Excuse me whilst I stick my tongue in my cheek.
Poetry in motion.
You could talk about precedents in case people don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, we should definitely touch on that. It looks like we got great signal here in this location, guys. I think this is one of the strongest signals I've seen.
So
which
we
is
should
good.
be pretty good.
Yeah, so here's a little something I pulled off of my feed today. When the government's boot is on your throat, whether it's a left boot or a right, is of no consequence. To your point, Maurice, people that otherwise would not be supporters of Trump and might even be downright haters of Trump still know that this is all wrong.
Yep.
Right.
That's what I'm seeing.
And why, we expected a guilty verdict, and why is that important?
Well, this means that you can go after a president, a former president. There's a few of them, and I'll go ahead and make a prediction now. I think there's going to be a significant component of the immunity argument in front of the Supreme Court that he's not going to win either. And that's going to go that way because it's in the Supreme Court, and because we're setting precedent, because once it's done, we can go off and go after presidents that have broken the law, whether they were in office or not, but in office. And so I'm making the prediction now because it's important for people to start seeing this pattern that's been building for the last 3.5 years or more. How, you know, the guy, he made a comment several years ago that he's probably the cleanest guy that's ever been investigated. He's been investigated so many times. He's got to be clean, because so the point is that he can win either on appeal or directly in a trial because he is that clean. So he can afford to go out there and put himself in front of the slings and arrows to set these precedents that will then be turned around, and he's going to force some people to walk a gauntlet. It's not going to be very pleasant for them.
Yeah, and I think, what is that, turnabout is fair play? What is it, something like that?
Yeah,
saying?
It helps to own the turntable.
Yeah. Couple things I saw I want to get in before we get calls. And Cheryl, I'm sure you got some updates. This is from Julie Kelly, who posted this on X today. And Julie Kelly, as everyone ought to know, has probably been one of the longest running supporters and ringing the gong about J6 from day one. And so again, So here's our comment. Unfortunately, courtrooms are filled with unhinged activists like Juan Merchant. When I started covering J6 court proceedings in early 21, I not only couldn't believe what DOJ prosecutors wrote, said, demanded, but how federal judges in Washington consented to even the most egregious demands. DC judges denying release of nonviolent offenders, obstruction conspiracy, with no criminal record by concluding the defendant was a threat simply because he participated in a protest. Judges lying about police fatalities, describing J6 as an insurrection, blasting defendants for their view that the 2020 election was stolen, and blaming Trump without using his name for what happened that day. Judge Tanya Chutkan, during one sentencing hearing, hinted that Donald Trump should be behind bars. Another judge considered social media posts of memes critical of Democrats and skeptical of the 2020 election in his final sentencing orders. Another judge concealed videos including body-worn camera footage permitting false testimony by police officers, including Donnell, Hodges, and Dunn, related to their injuries and other accusations such as the use of racial slurs, ignoring evidence that undercover officers and confidential human sources were involved in the protest, participated in group chats, instigated some activity, and were embedded in militia groups months before. A judge ordering the cruel transport of J6ers across the country to be incarcerated in the DC Gulag for no reason except to torment them for months and even years before their trial. Judges refusing to move trials out of DC despite overwhelming proof Trump supporters and J6ers could not get a fair trial in Washington. Judges allowing biased individuals to sit on juries because they promised they could be fair. Laugh out loud. This is why the DOJ has a perfect conviction rate in J6 jury trials. I've watched one judge, Royce Lamberth, tell a J6er that a jury was going to find him guilty before the trial even began because he refused a plea offer. I watched another judge, Tim Kelly, repeatedly rubber stamp DOJ in the Proud Boys case, even abruptly ending proceedings one day when the defense confronted an FBI agent on the stand over potentially destroyed evidence in the case and proof agents were surveilling attorney-client jail conversations. I watched another judge, Chris Cooper, tell a defendant that 60-plus lawsuits for 2020 election found no evidence of voting fraud. I've watched grown men cry before heartless DC judges explaining how their lives have been destroyed, even for minor low-level misdemeanors, divorces, bankruptcies, public media shaming, canceled bank accounts, etc., and begging for mercy only to be ordered to months or years in prison on a post-Enron document shredding law now poised to be overturned by SCOTUS. That's the 1512C case. Mm-hmm. I've watched Judges Kelly and Ahmed Mehta conclude that briefly shaking a metal fence and a conviction for 1512C2 warranted a terrorism enhancement at trial. I could go on, and I welcome J6ers to add on here, but the real crisis in the country is not just relegated to the DOJ, FBI. Activists, vengeful judges pose an even greater threat. Juan Merchant has lots of company.
Mm-hmm. Sobering.
She says a lot.
She does.
What you got? Because I've got another.
Oh, just
great
really
ones I'm
quick
gonna read,
stuff.
but yeah.
Since we were in DC last week, I'll just make the announcement that Chris Quagland was sentenced to 12 years. John George Todd III, he had his sentencing today, and he was sentenced for 5 years. Also, we have a couple of updates as location changes. Matthew Kroll, K-R-O-L, he was moved to Ayer, Massachusetts. It's a federal medical center because he has heart problems. Mark Brew, he was moved to Lompoc, California. Got his letter back again today since he changed locations. Andrew Taki, his sentencing is going to be next week, June 5th at 2:30 p.m. And Francis and his father, Fahad Azari, is going to be June 7th at 12:30 p.m. So that's all for now. There was a couple new guys that came in the Gulag, and I forgot to write down their names. It was on another piece of paper.
Bless you.
Thank you. Tucker Weston. There was another guy that there's one more guy that I have here. Joshua Atwood, Benjamin Burlew, Jonathan Copeland, Michael Oliveras, and Tucker Weston. And there was one more person that came last night, and I didn't write it down. It's on another piece of paper at home.
All right, and I think I had printed out the NPR thing again. I know that since the last time they'd done it, there was still another 4 or 5 J6ers that were arrested. So again, pretty active rate there. It was interesting when I mentioned that when I was in DC over the weekend for the walk. This is the Ashley Babbitt shirt that we all utilized for the 2nd annual Freedom March for Ashley, and that was on Memorial Day. And folks, if you haven't seen some of the beautiful footage from that day, that was really amazing. But at the vigil, I think I mentioned that, and their response, Mickey and Nicole, was, yeah, and they're pleading out as fast as they can. They're pleading guilty to all the charges because that's just the simplest thing to do. So these are people that they're looking at, you know, these are mostly the trespassing charges. And, you know, they're not like some of the guys that we've been following that have a lot more at stake and a lot more reason to fight. So
Right.
a lot of these people are just wanting to get past it and move on with their lives. But, all right. So this is something that was put out today by the chairman of the Lycoming County Patriots in Pennsylvania. That's I would call it a sister group to the Northern Neck Patriots and some of the Tea Parties. And I had the privilege of attending their last meeting in May, and got to speak there briefly, talk about the J6 situation. But they have been following the J6ers right from the beginning, especially it was Tina McCloy who set up the vigil along with Tammy Perryman's help to go up to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and start a vigil outside of that prison, that federal prison, when a lot of the guys got moved up there. So Tina has continued to do that work, and anyway, they're very up on what's going on with J6, and they're very up on what's going on in the rest of the world. They've done a really wonderful job with getting school boards populated with conservatives. They flipped 5 school boards in that area of Lycoming County, Pennsylvania, from left-leaning to conservative, and that's a really impressive fact. Great group, and anyway, here's the comment. It's called "The Die is Cast." Thursday, May 30th, 2024, a date that will live in infamy. To paraphrase FDR's iconic speech regarding December 7th, 1941, following the attack at Pearl Harbor, bringing us resolutely into World War II. Yesterday, as has been expected, the progressive communist Democrat lawfare machine produced its poison fruit and malodorous objective by convicting Donald Trump on the most phony and spurious charges imaginable. To be sure, this was absolutely a foregone conclusion from the start. The verdict was in before the trial even began. Make no mistake about that. This is the watershed moment for this election year and for the future of our republic in every possible way. War has been unambiguously declared by the left against the American Republic. The die has been cast. As I am sure most of you and I never anticipated any other outcome but that which we were treated to yesterday, as Trump was found guilty of 34 bogus felony counts. This will be overturned. This will be rectified. Though now is our most pressing call to arms, a call to arms to take all actions to stand with the truth, to stand with justice, and to oppose the malignant evil that has overtaken our nation and its institutions. That evil is fixed nearly exclusively in the macro sense against one and only one target, Donald J. Trump. In tandem with this, however, is the fact that tens of thousands of our fellow citizens are being attacked, albeit to some lesser extent, by the same malign forces that are attracting Trump. To wit, the entire J6 prisoner populations, whose rank swells nearly daily as the arrests by the deep state continue apace, is another example. And more, if you're not familiar with this, Hundreds of GOP election attorneys and additional GOP-friendly lawyers are being attacked, disbarred, indicted, and ruined all across the nation because of their legal actions in favor of Trump 2020, or even statements made against the Biden-Harris election theft of 2020. I'm going to pause. I'm not familiar with that, and I need to dig into that a little bit more to understand that. 'Cause-
I've seen reports of a few, but it hasn't popped up to where it grabs my attention. I need to look at it.
yeah, I mean, but a few here, a few there, you get to hundreds pretty quick, right? So.
Yep.
As a result of these attacks, it must be known at this time, none of us is safe from the juggernaut of the totalitarian deep state. We must all stand strong now, as we have never done before, without apology, to face full on the evil that is dedicated to the destruction of our nation and its ideals. Never before in the history of our republic has a former and future U.S. president been tried and convicted on anything, much less the insane collection of charges concocted by the Democrat progressive communist lawfare machine. We, by the precedent just set, have officially devolved into a third world dictatorship. And now it is up to us, you and me, to not only stop this, reverse it, but crush it back into the dust from which it sprang forth. In so doing, we must then demand justice and true retribution against all of the malevolent actors who have had a part in this and made it all possible. Anything less than a full cleansing away with this filth from our institutions and government will only assure its return time after time well into the future. Again, if this can be done to a former and future President of the United States of America, what assurances do you have that it will not happen to you? That's exactly the point. The left is broadcasting loud and clear. If you get out of line, or if you think you can run for any political office or president, you must be under the complete control of the deep state, or you will be destroyed. From this day forward, we are all Donald Trump now. You are witnessing the culmination of the left's cancel culture, its relentless attack on our institutions and traditions, to wit, tomorrow, June 1st, the beginning of a month traditionally celebrated for marriages and wedding ceremonies, is now celebrated by your government and too many large institutions and businesses as a month dedicated to celebrating sexual perverts. All of this is intertwined, and all of it is an agenda. This agenda is to once and for all destroy the foundations of the American Republic, to rend it to the ground and sow that ground with the noxious salt of progressivism and totalitarianism so that freedom and liberty may never again spring forth from the once hallowed ground of the American experiment. I say now to all who read this and all who are of like mind, the battle is now upon us in stark black and white terms, no shades of gray. This is our Lexington Concord moment. The shot heard round the world 249 years ago, updated. You and I must now be counted. Winning against the perverse evil of the progressive Democrat left will not be easy, but it must and will be done. All of us now must become our own iteration of Trump, unbowed, unapologetic, unbroken, and undefeated. We will never surrender. We must and will win. There must be no quarter given to this enemy in this. It's no longer enough to simply vote them out. These individuals, their policies, and their institutional rot must be expunged from the body politic. Yesterday, with the Trump verdict, the door was open to a Pandora's box of judicial evil. That evil will now come to haunt, very soon, its own architects and benefactors. All that they have brought against Trump, and all of us by extension, will now be visited upon them. There will be justice, real, swift justice, and sure, and devastating for all parties involved in this subterfuge against our nation. The left has no idea yet the price that they will pay for all this, and I, and all of you, are duty-bound as of now to exact and to collect that price in full against the leaders and the minions of this Democrat progressive rot. I not only ask, but demand, each of you, that you gird yourselves now for the fight. It will be long, it will be hard, though through obedient faith and the insurmountable power of, and in service to, the truth, we will win out. Prepare yourselves, our hour has come, the time is now. In service to liberty, Rick Hauser, Chairman, Lycoming County Patriots. I have his permission to use and share this, and I just thought that was a very well summed up on the spot.
You know, there's 6 words here. Actually, 9, but it really grabbed my attention because it's been one of the things I harp on a lot. And it is now up to us, you and me. It's always been that way. It's always been up to us.
We the people.
We the people.
Giving
I was in a-
power back to the people.
I was in a conversation just today. Somebody was blaming some elected person for some trivial thing. I said, wait a second. We vote and walk away. We don't run. We stopped paying attention to our schools. I don't think it's our elected officials that need to be brought into order. I think we need to start with us, the people. We need to change the way we think and the way we live our lives. The days of the prosperity of the 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s, those days are never going to come again if
Right.
we don't pull our collective heads and our hearts out of our anatomy.
Took us.
Yes.
Well, election day is November 5th, and you know what they say, remember, the 5th of November. That's going to be a day to remember.
I hope so.
5th of November.
Bluetooth connected.
Hey, Ava, welcome. We have a pretty good signal tonight, so hopefully we won't have any buffering. Did you guys listen to Ben Pollack, his sermon, his prayer?
I didn't listen to that. No.
Well, it's wonderful. It's in the email that I sent you. You got to listen to it. And I'm sure it was on several of the live streams from the vigil on Memorial Day. But he's praying to God, and he's got his microphone, and he's kind of got this thing going on. You know, he's in the moment. You can feel it, and he's going, and please God, help them with the buffering and all the problems that they have, and send somebody. It can't be me. I don't know anything about that, but please God, send somebody that can help them out. And they're all giggling and laughing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there were so many people streaming that day, you know, I could imagine that's was even worse than normal.
Yeah, no, you got to watch that if you haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a powerful message, and of course the haters were across the street, and at one point, you know, he's talking, and she's screaming her vile, evil, just horse, just nastiness, and blowing her little plastic horn to make noise and just disrupt things, and she says something like, "Shut up, you idiots," blah blah, and he goes, "Lady, I will never shut up. I will never shut up." And you will, you know, and he just went on. He rolled with it so well. It was so impressive.
You got to love that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things I would add to this is that by being unapologetic doesn't mean you have to be rude. You have to think. You have to be intelligent when you confront these people about their crap. And I guess for some that takes practice and learning, like a musical instrument maybe. But it doesn't do, you know, in recent months, we've seen people go into Board of Supervisors meetings, and they sound like they want to swing a baseball bat, and that's not the way to get that done. So I just caution people from taking that approach. Understand that whoever you're engaging with may not have a clue what you're trying to address. So give them the advantage, or at least the space to learn what it is you're talking about, and maybe start by teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
And just try to be informing rather than criticizing.
Yeah, we've seen some of that, haven't we? Which is, first of all, it's a little bit intimidating for people to find their voice, to stand up and do any kind of public speaking, let alone when you've got a restriction of exactly 120 seconds or you know,
Right.
whatever the case may be, and
you're worried about whether or not you're going to fit it in.
you're going to fit it in, or just, yeah, there's so many things that are going on with that. And so it's natural, I guess, to see, you know, people gravitate when they see a really powerful speaker get up there and do it all right and just nail it and hit it and hit it and hit it. And I almost feel bad for some of these school boards and such. Not too bad. but a little bit that they're sitting there getting whacked by these people. I mean, we've done enough of this that I think that just the consistent, steady message probably will win the day. But we do have to learn how to ramp it up at times too.
We do. It's been a while since we've had to ramp up, because I think we're recognized by. I was approached by one of the supervisors in Northumberland about J6, and I'm like, really? What made you think to come and ask me about J6? And he started off saying, I was thinking about you, and I was wondering about J6. What's going on with that?
Mm-hmm.
And after the meeting, I'm outside, and I talked to the guy, and I had to ask him, what made you think of me regarding J6? He said, I wouldn't know anything about it if I hadn't met you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that says a lot. That says a lot. The
Nobody-
average person's working day in, day out. They got to feed their kids. And paying attention sometimes does require getting a loan of time from somebody.
Well, and it's perfectly natural, right? Because even if you are maybe a conservative person in your thinking and where you get your news and so on, I don't think conservative news has done a very good job with covering the J6 situation. So,
I don't think anybody has.
Well, right. So the lamestream media has been successful to some degree in making it go away. And this is what we've said over and over again, is because of you folks that are listening out there, and when you spread it to other people, this format, it's simple, that we're spreading the word, and we're not letting it die, because too many, think about it, a natural disaster, a tax increase, things that are a hiccup or a big problem one day, in a few days, typically, unless it's directly affected you and a loved one in your family,
Right.
you move on.
Yeah.
Move on and you forget about it.
We've
And
been
that's what's
we've been
been found
trained to deal with news cycles that last 2 days.
That's right.
And whether people want to think about it that way or not, it's absolutely
Right.
true. We watch that flat screen or listen to the radio on the way home from work. We hear the absurd, the hyperbolic, and we get home to our spouses and we say, did you hear about that? And then the next couple of days come by and you don't even remember it.
Everybody probably forgot about the Key Bridge collapsing. That's
Yeah.
That's old.
That
news.
happened. It's old news, but it's going to impact the entire country for many years.
Yeah, and plus in Maryland over there, it's going to be a long time.
Yeah, it is going to be. I haven't heard any updates on that. Have you? Have they gotten
No.
the channels open yet?
See, we don't
They've still
know.
got huge
They
chunks.
don't talk about it
Yeah,
anymore.
they don't talk about it anymore, so it's not close enough to us. But not that I really want to defend the news media. A former father-in-law of mine was a very talented gentleman. He spoke 7 languages fluently, and after Vietnam, it was his job to go over there and reestablish communications technologies in Vietnam. Just to give you an idea of what his life was like, he'd been in almost every country on the planet over the course of his career. And he told me one day, he says, there is more news happening in one day on this planet than you can read in a lifetime. Just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't read it all. So it's truly a task on the news media to get the right information to us that we actually need to know. Of course, they know that, and they're not actually trying to do that. But it's a challenge, to be sure.
It is a challenge. All right. So we're normally getting calls right now.
So one of the people that usually call is John Todd,
Mhm.
and who knows if he's going to call in since he was sentenced today. But he might want to talk about it, so we'll see.
Why did you bring John Munifo's thing here today, the complaint?
He sent it to me, and I just thought you might have not seen it.
No, I haven't. So do you know anything more about what he told us on Friday last
I
week.
got a letter from him, but it was dated May 7th. So that's 3 weeks ago. So it's old news from when we spoke to him on Friday. So really, I guess the letter was old news. So it didn't say anything about his when he's going to be released or anything like that. But he just said he was doing really well, and body, spirit.
Yeah. So and that again is thanks to what you and a couple others did in terms of getting a hold of people and calling attention to what was happening
Yeah.
with him. So that's really good. But he also indicated he had some hope that he might his case might change and he might get some time off.
Right.
So I'm hopeful that he's right on that and that there's really something there.
Yeah. Yeah, he mentioned he has to get in touch with a friend of his, so he could.
So are we gonna help him do that?
No, he's doing that.
Okay.
And, I'm just there for him, but he's going to get in touch with a friend for his location address or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay. Well, that's another one to follow. All right. I think we'll maybe try to reach out to somebody here in a minute. Hey, everybody. Good to see you all. Jay, Critical Thinker, Ava. All right, no callers yet here, but we're going to maybe try to give one a call. Hey, Kathy. Good to see you on there again. I got to meet her in person, Kathy Richardson.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Over the weekend. Yep. Happy to visit with you too, Kathy.
Who's Critical Thinker? Can you tell me who that person is?
We don't want to exploit people's identities. So, just while we're sitting here, so our man, Mr. Trump, went to the Libertarian, what is it, their primary thing?
Yeah. Their convention.
Yeah, their convention. And he promised them that he was going to free Mr. Ulbricht, the guy who, he was a kid at the time, but he was running the Silk Road on the dark web. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Silk Road, but he had developed a system that could use, and this is early on because this is back in like 2014. Actually, he got arrested in 2014. He started doing it in 2011. And he's totally brilliant, and a savant. But his whole dream was to create an economic model so that people could see that you don't need to be bound to the government with your money. Well, the idea was good. Some of the things that he let go by were probably not so great, like drug deals and weapons deals and other things that people were able to buy and sell. But those weren't the only things involved. I mean, there were other things that you and I would consider legit. The model works, and the idea that he was responsible for what other people were selling when his model necessarily meant that he couldn't have known what other people were buying and selling through his thing.
So he's been in jail for a long time.
Been in jail he was convicted for life without possibility of parole before the age of 24. He's been in for a long time. They hit him pretty hard. So it's interesting because when Trump made that comment at the convention that he's going to pardon him, he won a large chunk of the Libertarian Party.
Oh, okay. So they're big supporters for him then.
Yes, they
Gotcha.
are big supporters of it. There's a lot of really talented and brilliant people out there that are thinkers, and they don't buy into the dogma of a party.
Mm-hmm.
And the independents are also, they might as well have their own party too, because the independents they truly vote for who they think is right, and they're the people that would vote left or right depending on how they see the currents flowing.
Right.
And there's a lot of them today I see going, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, we say as the Northern Patriots that we're nonpartisan.
We
Now,
are.
I'll admit most of us are conservative, and a lot of people probably have the R on their voter card. But I frankly am no great fan of the Republican Party, and I think they've been asleep at the wheel, and it's clear that they've been asleep at the wheel. And where are they with, they talk the big talk, but why aren't they in those courtrooms?
Exactly. Where were they? Why are they on my phone asking me for money, but they're not actually doing anything?
Right. Let's see if we can make a quick call here. Oh, we don't have a microphone.
That would be nice.
What's up, Tom?
Brandon, hey, how are you tonight? This is Tom. You knew that.
Yes, I did. Do we have, sorry, let me just double check. Did we schedule something real quick? I feel like we did.
Well, I talked about maybe doing something, so I just thought I'd give you a shout. Normally, we're getting calls right now, so just wondered if you had a couple minutes.
Sure, yeah, I just got to the gym for the first time, but yeah, I got a couple, I'll go to the locker room.
All right. Well,
Hi, Brandon.
Hey,
It's
my first time
Cheryl.
in the gym
Cheryl and
in the
Maurice
real
are here
world.
too.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I got to schedule my gym membership today, so slowly getting reintegrated.
Well, great. We're live on the live stream, so if you don't want to do this right now, just say so, and we can do it later. But I just
Oh no, it's good.
okay.
I am playing life dangerously, wearing my Trump hat in DC.
Oh boy.
Hopefully not getting yeah, some good stuff.
And you're still within the confines of that geographic square that is DC. That's brave.
Yeah, just know I'm not a person that will kill myself. I want to be not gonna ever go against
Point well made.
Well, it was good to meet you. It was good to meet last week anyway. Thought I'd
Thank you.
say
Yeah, I
that.
met so many new people, and honestly, I will say DC's actually been a lot more welcoming than I thought. So it's been a fun couple days. It was good to meet Tom in person. Tom's been super helpful to me, to the other January 6th defendants, and also to the people in Northern Neck. I'd like to commend you guys for being out there and caring about people in there. And yeah, just you guys did you guys really helped us out, because that place is terrible. It'd be nice to see it. I'm sure by now, because it was so far down, it probably still needs some work. But yeah, you guys are out there rocking it. It was a pleasure to meet some of you guys.
Well, listen, you did great, by the way. I saw some of the YouTube videos that were taken, like that guy named TJ that interviewed you on the march. That was just really informative, and I think you did a wonderful job of explaining it to someone. And I thought he asked great questions, so that was really great.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think so far the best. Thank you, by the way. I think the best interview I've done so far was by it's on a Rumble account, Oreo Express. It's like at the 59-minute mark. It's somewhere on there. But I wish I could point it out. But that's so far. I mean, it was 20 minutes long, but honestly, I think that's the quickest and most informative way of the quick versions to describe January 6th. So
We'll look that up. So
Yeah.
on Oreo Express?
yeah, I think it's either Oreo Josh or Oreo Express. He's the guy that just went viral for the Robert De Niro situation down with Harry Dunn and Michael Fanone.
Yes.
So he literally is the guy that was, heckling him. So I actually couldn't believe it. I was like, a couple of days later, after I interviewed with him,
Right.
this guy's going viral for the, I just couldn't believe it. Oh,
Right.
let's talk to that guy.
Yeah.
So it's funny.
Yeah, so he not only stood outside of De Niro's press conference, and De Niro was dumb enough to engage him. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that was
Sometimes
that didn't go well.
It didn't go well. But then also he was heckling Fanone in a queue in a line somewhere, calling him a traitor, and of course Fanone just walked away.
Dude, I can't listen. Let me just say this about Fanone real quick. So, I was jumped like a week before my senior year of graduation, and I was left unconscious on the side of the road. I was found at 3:00 in the morning. I had been beaten so bad. I got picked up on the side of the road, and I remember right now even people asking me what my name was, and I was like, I don't know my name. I was like, I don't remember it, but I was like, you call my mom on my phone in my pocket. She knows my name. So I remember the phone call, and when she said, she thought people were joking with me. She's like, Brandon, I was like, oh, that's my name. But my point in sharing that is, you know, I was upset because I had permanent scars on the left side of my face, which, you know, from that situation. And of course, I walked across the stage wearing sunglasses to try to hide it. But this Michael Fanone guy, you know, he gets checked out by the medics outside. He walks out, and they say, don't see anything wrong with him. And also he made a joke about it the next day. But all of a sudden now, you know, ever since then, he's got the beating of a lifetime. And he puts on this sad face as if he's like, his whole life is ruined by this day. I mean, it's just total theatrics to me. And I mean, if that's, we shouldn't be having people like that sign up for the police force.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, the guy's just, to me, it's just overly theatrical.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I saw a photo collage of him with Nancy Pelosi, with Biden, with you know, he's been hobnobbing with them for a long time. I'm absolutely sure that they didn't just pick him up after J6 and say, hey, let's get him to testify. I'm sure he was part of the whole thing. Yep. And I watched, I think it was I forget where I just saw it about Harry Dunn, stuff that I didn't even know about him. But it was because I hadn't even really heard much about him until I saw an ad for him running for whatever position he's running for. And I saw him just in this brief little small documentary. It showed him just basically avoiding avoiding everybody. I mean, he said he was fighting that day. I mean, he's just basically sitting down the whole time and just walking around. He's not doing anything. And I found that interesting too. So, and I haven't really even been digging into it much because I'm just, you know, getting out here, getting used to things, making friends, believe it or not, out here. I've got a stalker, so that's cool. Yeah. I saw her the other day. And I also, when you were on you probably caught it on camera, because I know you asked me to use your camera if you watched it yet. I was walking the street after being in DC for less than 48 hours, and there's an Antifa person, I think they were double masked up, blowing a whistle, which definitely would have, I don't know how they were still alive. I mean, probably all the air from their brain was sucked away. But they were able to grab onto a couple brain cells to somehow, I mean, they knew my name. They were like, hey, Brandon. I'm like, what the heck? They knew me. So I was like, man, we've got some stalkers out here. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing in our walk, again, I think that was on TJ's, you know, the guy that interviewed you on the walk. He also got the AP person up front, the hater, and interviewed her and talked to her.
That's Patricia. That's Patricia. She's actually a commissioner for DC. She is an elected representative of DC, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. That's not AP?
Yeah.
All right.
No, that was Patricia.
Okay. Well, it was very interesting to listen to her speak because talking about brain cells, I don't think there were a whole lot there either. But
nope.
Yeah.
And when you watch the video and she's like, there's an insurrectionist supporter. I'm pretty sure she's referring to me.
Yeah.
I was over there, well, for the first part, because she was not happy. But funniest part of that day was when Ron J came up and started rapping a song against her, and she started, I don't know, I think you were there for that. She just started appealing to him, please. You know, it was basically like a diss against her, and then also promoting Donald Trump. And I think she couldn't grasp that, like, you know, this black man is supporting Trump. And she's just like. She wasn't understanding it. So she's freaking out. And it was just entertaining to see.
You're being generous. She was showing her racism.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
No, I know. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm so happy you picked up. And again, it was an amazing weekend. Again, you know, between the Friday, the vigil, and seeing you in the courtroom, that was great.
I had a great time. It was great meeting you, and hopefully I'll be, you know, they're forcing me to stay here. Which honestly, I'm starting to like it more and more, and I'm hoping that they'll start to regret it. But yeah.
Well,
I cause chaos everywhere I go. Who else got kicked out of 2 jails? You know, for good reasons. I mean, you know, you have to be you have to be causing some crazy amounts of changes and or promoting other changes to be kicked out for good reasons. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Right.
So,
well, listen, I went back through on some of the vigils that we've had out here at the jail, and I got at least 5 that I found that you were on the vigils and got to speak, and those were like from beginning of November of 22 right up until the end of it, even when you got up into Lewisburg. And a couple of those calls, you said some really important things about the Northern Neck Regional Jail. So that's what I want to have more conversation with you about at some point. And I want to take you up on it to come out here at a jail board meeting and lay it down. So
Yeah, the sooner you can plan ahead. So I need 2 to 4 weeks in advance to be able to get out there if it's more than 50 miles away from DC. So as long as I get that advance notice, I can supply it, unless the Supreme Court drops it, which tomorrow is June, the month that everybody is expecting the felony for lots of us to drop. So I'm hoping that happens, because then shortly after I should not have any conditions of release and I can just show up whenever I want. So, but yes, I definitely want to do that. And also to add to that, I found the paperwork for, I know where that now, which bag it is in all my Northern Neck stuff and my notes on these guards. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be gathering up those papers, reminding myself of what guard did what date and the time frames, because that's important. I mean, I wrote it down to the minute.
So
and then I wrote witness statements. I mean, I documented the heck out of it.
yeah,
So, Brandon,
let me follow up first, just to close that loop. Yeah, and I've got some of those in the notes of the recordings that we have from you, Brandon. So I can help with that.
So I was approached.
That'd be great.
I was approached by a member of a local board of supervisors just this past week, and they were asking me about J6 and the local NNRJ and how it was run and the things that happened there. And he was kind of jaw dropped at what I told him. And I've gotten a lot of my information through these vigils from you guys. And so any additional help and information you can provide on that front is going to help, because I think somehow we've managed belatedly to get supervisors' attention.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and I can speak on it in detail. I can talk about it. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't expect to be crying about it, but I mean, I'm passionate about this stuff. It does evoke a certain like emotional response
Sure.
for me, because I mean, these people treated us like worse than animals. Even the nurses. These people should not have chosen that profession. If you're choosing a profession to help somebody, when they ask for the simplest of things in a kind manner, such as laxatives, I should not have to be physically attacked for asking about that, which is literally what happened. It sounds absolutely crazy saying it even now, even though I experienced it, but it literally happened. And I mean, even like Daniel Wingwell, I love bringing him up, because I just was like, you couldn't write about this stuff. This is stranger than fiction.
Right.
Seeing this guy having seizures and hitting his head on the cement, and just seeing a nurse, right, Epps, I believe, roll her eyes and say, well, what do you want me to do about it? I just couldn't believe it. And this stuff, they should not be in that profession.
Right.
All
And
right.
in fact, I think they should be held responsible, honestly. It's not just, oh, you should leave. No, like, you need to be punished in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, last quick question. So let's see. On Memorial Day in the evening, there you were doing the challenge, and I know every time I turned around, you were back there, doing some kind of drop to your knees, push-ups, calisthenics, whatever you called it. How far did you get, and what was your time?
So there's a reason I didn't promote it. So I actually got halfway through, and I was actually doing all right, I was leading by like a minute and a half to take the lead, but that was the first half. The second half was not going to go as well, and thank God I was saved by the pouring rain, which the Antifa stalkers online started laughing and saying, "Ha ha, it's ruined." They didn't realize. I mean, we were all smiling, having a good time. But they don't realize like how grateful I was that it rained, because then I could blame it on the rain. Oh, I did, but then it rained. And I was rescued, and so they got a photo of me on the little Antifa forums thing, and they didn't know, because the cameras that they were watching, I was working out outside of the line of sight of the camera.
Uh-huh.
So they just see me show up shirtless running over there, and they were like talking amongst themselves, and they said, "Look, Brandon Fellows is stripping for freedom. They are extremely thirsty." like stripping for, like trying to get attention by stripping. I'm like, I'm not stripping for this.
You know, there's people out there that buy into that, anything they say.
Oh, I know. I gotta say though, it was like 2 a.m, and I just just scrolled by it, and I just burst out laughing. I was like, oh my gosh. But these people
They
watch.
sure do.
They're like honestly, they're like the most devoted fans, I think.
Yeah, probably so.
I'm sure the ladies enjoyed it though.
Yeah, well, it was crazy because real quick I saw this Anarchy Princess is one of the girls' names, and I was like, oh, let me, because they were telling me all these stories about her, and I looked her up, and I was like, okay, now I know what she looks like, and like it was less than 48 hours later, I'm just out there petting Oliver in the front yard of the Eagle's Nest in DC, and I see her walk by, and she's trying to avoid eye contact, and I see her, I'm like, it's not hard to spot this pink-haired girl. So,
Right?
I'm like, what the heck? She's right there. I'm like, is she seriously walking right by? Oh, yeah, she has some. It's midday too. It's not even nighttime. She's just walking by.
Wow.
So, but yeah. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Anyway, back on topic though, I would definitely like to help out in any way I can. I'd like to help bring about justice, and also, make sure that this stuff doesn't happen to the other people in there who, maybe don't have the means or the motivation or the support that in order to be able to accomplish what we were accomplished. While you guys are there, it's great, but a lot of those people will be moved to other places, and it would be good to also possibly, if we're able to, equip some of the people in there to recognize how to be able to, what measures to take in order to create a system like you guys have helped create. And also ensure that this stuff doesn't happen at their other facilities. Because Northern Neck is a horrible place. Out of the 11 travels that I went through, it was the worst place by far. But I have heard there are lots of places similar and or according to some people who haven't been there, worse than it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People who haven't been there.
Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, great catching up with you, Brandon. Thanks so much for giving us some time.
Yeah, feel free to pray for me. I'm playing dangerously. I have my Trump hat, and I've gotten some looks in the DC, on the streets of DC. So pray for me, and thank you guys.
All right.
Thanks
Take
a
care.
lot, Brandon.
Good night.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Wearing his Trump hat in the gym in DC.
Yeah. So we have a jail board meeting next Wednesday, and I think after that they're changing the date from the first Wednesday of the month to the second Wednesday of the month.
I believe so.
But we have to
Yeah, July is the first month of the new schedule.
yeah. So we have to get that schedule so we could tell Brandon in advance because we're gonna know way in advance.
Yeah, I mean, he's not coming to observe. He's coming to lay some stuff down. That's why I use that phrase. So I think we want to strategize this a little bit.
Yeah, we're not going to get this done quickly. This has to be strategized, content, guardrails.
Yeah, yeah, and what is our to his point? He touched on it there, which is how do we give other people the tools to know that they have rights and I think where it is just like Chris Quagland, Brandon understands the grievance process. You follow it through to the end. You don't just start and that's what they expect.
Yeah.
People write out a grievance or a complaint.
So the biggest enemy is
yourself.
Lack of ability to deal with delayed gratification.
You got it. You got to stay after it. You got to stay after it.
Well, he knows everything he needs to say. He doesn't know that you only have 4 minutes or 3 minutes, so he has to really gather his thoughts, the main thoughts, to talk about for the jail board.
Yeah,
That's the hardest part.
But I think we also, and this is for everybody to listen to, I guess, because most of our people are supporters. I would think there may be some others that are not, but they probably are robots anyway. So, I think there has to be a lot of work that is done behind the scenes with those people that have their eyes open, that are asking questions about it and so on, because it's not just an idea to come out here and smear the counties and smear the jail. We're not, well, maybe it is smear the jail, but it's not going to, what is it we actually want to achieve? Because some of this stuff could go to lawsuit, and we talk about that. So I think we have to be real careful and maybe hold a little powder as well, maybe
That's a good point. Hold a little powder.
So I'll give you just to touch on some of these things from, this was on April of this year, actually, from DC. He said that the grievance process is broken. He filed a motion in the DC jail in March of 2022. They weren't following the law. They didn't have a three-step process or a third-step process. And I think that has to do with grievance goes in, you get your copy, grievance comes back a week later, either yes or no, rejected, response goes back,
Right.
goes back, and then then finally, if you go through those 3 steps and you still haven't resolved it, then it finally gets kicked up to the superintendent level. You gotta go through that, or else it just dies on the vine, and
Right.
that's what their point is. He said that 95% of court cases from inmates have to do with how they are treated, right?
See, I'd like, that's a point that we can say that, but for the audience at like a board meeting, we're going to need to show that, not just say it.
Yeah. Yep. He talked about how they had roughed him up and bent his wrists and handcuffs behind his back.
Right.
He was in a solitary, confinement situation for so long that he flooded the toilet. You remember that? He flooded the toilet, and so that impacted not only his cell but every other cells. And this was the thing I forgot to tell him, that he came to Northern Neck Jail on Memorial Day 2022.
Oh.
So
How long was he in NRJ?
well, I think he must have been there.
A little over a year.
Yeah,
No,
I think
no, not
he
quite that
told me in here when he went. Well, on Memorial Day 2022. So, and then I think he was in Lewisburg at the end of the year of 22. So,
It's either 4 or 9 months. I'm not sure. I was looking at something recently.
yeah. But anyway, cool.
But I mean, he's highly intelligent and he's quick with his thoughts. He doesn't have to sit there and him and haw and think about something to come up with
Oh no,
a
Yeah.
good thing.
exactly.
He's the kind of guy that, with his life experience, as young as he is, I'd vote for him in some position that's subject to being changed by a guy.
Yeah, I think he's one of. I mean, we've said it before many times. A lot of these guys are not your average
No, they're not.
criminal that ends up, or not even a criminal, but somebody who falls into that system, and yeah, they've got futures ahead of them. That's for sure. One of the reasons why they may be trying to keep them down so much.
Yeah. Robert Morris is another case in
Yes,
point
but I
for
just
that.
getting in his letter because he said something that I wanted to read.
There's an awful lot of really intelligent, highly educated people that were there, got arrested. Their lives, I don't know. I wouldn't say they're ruined, because for like Brandon, he's on the downhill side of the nightmare, and I do believe that his life going forward is going to be more substantive than it might have otherwise been.
Yep. Well, you can hear it in his voice when he talks about how he's enjoying himself. I want to get some notes out here to the group. Ava, you asked about the inmate having a seizure. His name was Daniel Wingo. His mother told me that he's been out of the Northern Neck Regional Jail for some time now, and he's actually in a psychiatric unit. He has to spend a certain amount of time there to be able to prove that he is competent to be released. So I haven't heard any updates, but yeah, he's not in the Northern Neck Regional Jail. Ask Brandon how easy or difficult. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the problem. We don't have anybody behind the camera to see the comments that come in. So, Ava, sorry I didn't ask him that question. But we will.
We can do that from these phones.
Yeah, maybe we should doing that from now on. All right. Well, so I'm not sure if we're going to get any calls because Chris Quaglin is normally organizing that.
Yeah.
So
I have one paragraph from
Go ahead.
Robert Morris wrote to me. He's Lego Man, but he says, I have no doubt that I will be pardoned by Trump. He has discussed this with my mother at Mar-a-Lago and Jersey several times. If he needs my help during his presidency, I will be more than happy to serve with one more term. That is why I have considered this chapter of incarceration as my second basic training. I'm not being punished, I am being prepared. But for what, I do not know. So,
Yep.
hey, wouldn't that be cool?
And who was that?
Robert Morris,
Robert Morris, Lego Man.
Lego Man, he said that. For being prepared. Wouldn't that be cool if he went to...
Yeah, I think he's one of them. There's plenty of them that are gonna come out of this stuff, and they're gonna.
There's a couple of people who told me, I guess I can mention this. What's his name? Why do you have a brain fart?
Cerebral flatulence.
Yeah. Okay, I remember their names now because I'm looking. Marcus Maley and Kyle Young. They both said that when they get out, they want to contact us to see how we could train them to do things like we're doing. So two people have that I speak to often. They want to do something, and I have it in writing, so I wasn't prepared to read it. But they did say that they want to try to do something when they get out.
That would be good.
I think that we're going to see, first of all, the whole network of people that are online streaming right now, and everybody else that's associated with that. I don't think we're going away, folks. I mean, yeah, if everybody gets pardoned and the whole system gets cleaned up tomorrow, great. But it ain't happening that quick. Nothing's happening that quick. We got a lot of fights here on our hands to take back our country. And I think this has been a galvanizing event. I mean, we do this every Friday night because we know that this is wrong and we won't stand for it. And we got to do what we can to get the word out and get their voices out. That's why we're here, to get their voices out. That's just step one.
We can't go away.
No.
Excellent comment, Ava. We can't give up. We can't give in. We can't back down. We can't surrender, and we can't leave soldiers on the field. So no, we can't go away. So we'll keep doing this. It may evolve to meet circumstances as time changes things, but we're not going to stop.
Right. And back to what Brandon was talking about coming to the jail. We need to plan our return for these vigils at the jail. And I think we do it after we have that kind of conversation where we lay down some stuff of, hey, people, we've gone away. Those pesky patriots hanging outside your jail have gone away for this year, basically, since January 1 of this year. We've not been at the jail. But if we go and lay some things down like that they need to look into, and we expect them to look into it, then we're going to have to stand outside that jail and continue. Yeah, let's do it. I'm all for it. But there has to be a reason. There has to be, it's just like the, what was her name that was there? We had the stroke. The abortion clinic. Yeah, I can't remember her.
Heather Adoni?
Heather Adoni, yeah.
Very good.
That's
I knew
it.
you'd do it. Heather Adoni.
Yeah, okay.
She was in there, right? And that would have been an opportunity to stand out there and say, guys, what just went on here? Do you all realize? Does everybody know? Say the same thing at the jail board meeting, say the same thing at the county boards of supervisors. Are you all aware that this happened? Did you even know they had this lady in there? probably not. But I do think that when they have that kind of an incident, they have to report it up to the jail board, I would expect. So
Yeah.
every one of them should be aware of it, and if they're not, then that's another real problem.
So we're gonna mention this next week?
Tactics or strategy is the better part of tactics.
Yeah, we'll have to see, and I'm not sure I can be there next week either. So
So we do need to sit down and strategize that a little bit, because it's, you know, Heather is one case in point. She's the most recent case in point. She's not a J6er. That might raise some eyebrows if we're the ones delivering the message, but I don't care. If it raises eyebrows, then they haven't been getting the message the whole time anyways.
right.
Um,
Well, I think it's just layered on to everything else. That
It is.
it's the treatment of people again. You know, I think when she was there, she'd already been convicted, right? I think so.
yeah.
I think so, because the sentencing was just a week or so ago. So, and hers was a bit
The
delayed.
sentencing was May 21st.
May 21st, right?
So, and I think the larger point is, and this is what we all need to be grateful for all the J6ers for, we were able to give them voice, and through that voice, we learned more about what goes on in the system than your average person out on the street knows.
Right.
In fact, I would venture to say, and I'm quoting somebody else, 95 to 99% of the population at large is completely unaware of how messed up our judicial system is. In fact, I was telling somebody, you know, I've got copies of emails between the former superintendent and attorneys where just the words that man put on paper or in an email were repugnant to the Constitution. And he's the guy that's sitting in there running the show in this jail where it's the most critical. You know, how many of those first 10 amendments to the Constitution actually apply to the process of the accusation, the holding of the pretrial process, what happens in the sentencing, and how the sentences are tailored to fit the crime. How many of those, and I'm just asking somebody out there because I already know the answer, but it's my point is that over half of them are directly involved with that process, and they're not being followed. And it's not just here in Northern Neck, it's everywhere that they're not being followed. It's everywhere as it regards to pretrial detainees, and as we're starting to see as these guys go through the process, it's with post-trial and the BOP system people. You know, and who was it, the guy that made the quote that if you throw a guy in a box and you treat him like an animal, when you let him out, he's going to be an animal.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about, you know, in the media, we hear him say, well, we're rehabilitating these guys. We're not.
Right.
We're getting them to be repeat customers because there's money in it.
It's big money in the jails. Big money.
Just wait for it. It takes a while to pop up.
Yep.
Does?
I didn't do anything. It just popped up.
Okay.
Thank you, man. See, now that we've got better coverage, I can have a phone sitting here and I'm tracking the comments. I don't have to get up and stand.
Well, that's
there.
great.
I
That's
don't have
great.
comments.
Well, then you can become the moderator,
Exactly. I could be the moderator.
and you can get rid of the trolls when they show up.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we're killing a little time. I did send a text down to the Freedom Corner to see if anybody's going to be calling, because, you know, Chris normally coordinates for us.
Yeah, he might be busy.
He could be,
or
or
maybe he's on his way out or something.
I don't know what's going on.
We don't
but
know.
We'll see.
We could guess.
I did want to share one other thing here that I got. I don't know if anybody knows a guy named Tim Hale. He's his handle on X is criminally funny J6er. So here's Tim Hale, and he's just got a little post that was yesterday, May 30th, in the morning, 6 o'clock. It had 9,000 views yesterday morning.
So Ava says that she just texted Michael Oliveira to see if he can call us.
Oh, cool. Cool. All right. So Yeah, so Tim Hale, also his handle is at Lewis of Monmouth. When January 6th was still propagandized as the greatest American tragedy since 9/11, and January 6 defendants were treated like lepers, few people would even entertain the idea that those of us rotting in solitary confinement deserved humane treatment. There were a few exceptions. My aunt, he gives her address, united the families of the first DC jail inmates under a support group before Patriot Freedom Project was founded. Outside of that, there were few advocates for us except for Steve Bannon and Julie Kelly. Back to Julie. These were the first to build an advocacy movement for the men who were rotting in the DC Gulag in early 2021. I'll neither deny their contribution, nor shall I ever say a negative thing about them, but rather I'll remain thankful to have had them speaking out for us during a time of isolation and hardship. It was Herodotus, the father of history, who wrote that, of all men's miseries, the bitterest is this, to know so much and to have control over nothing. That's what our distant and perpetual torment was, knowing our recollection of events at the Capitol would not be told, knowing we'd continue to be vilified for the narratives of our oppressors, knowing we lacked any agency while held captive by a hostile regime.
Hello, this is a free call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. To refuse this free call, hex. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry about that. I messed up and forgot it was Friday.
A lost weekend.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. I just got a text also, so sorry about that. So I'm multitasking right now.
No worries. No worries.
So I'm dealing with, obviously you guys heard that I got 12 years. I mean, it is what it is.
We were in the room.
It was what I was kind of expecting, but I'm realizing now, and I'm sure you guys have heard that, 99% of sorry, I'm really bad at multitasking. Like, I cannot text and talk at the same time. Okay, so I'm telling my buddy Brian, because my dad's so far behind. I mean, God bless him, right? He's working his ass off with me, but he's 80 years old, right? He's far behind as far as his phone and stuff like that. Like, he still doesn't know how to do a screenshot, right? And he doesn't know how to add stuff on his phone in an email as an attachment, and it's just like simple stuff. And I mean, listen, he's never done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm just trying to deal with him now. My friend has his GTL password and everything else, but I'm still trying to deal. Now my lawyer doesn't understand, and I just found out that did we talk about this yesterday? How my lawyer, or last week, that my lawyer didn't send the screenshots and the July 19th that I just refound, and this is why I keep notes. So on July 19th, I had original stipulated trial on July 10th or something, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm looking through my text messages on my GTL thing, on my GTL account, provided by the jail, and I look at my wife's text messages, and I'm looking at July 8th. And Maria Rodriguez says on 12:14 p.m. on July 8th, the day before trial, "This is urgent. Just heard from Judge McFadden. Need Chris to call me at 12:30. Let me know if this is possible." Now, Judge McFadden said on the record that he never reached out to Maria. So right now, either this is Maria lying or it's Judge McFadden perjuring himself on the stand.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't know which one it is. Okay.
Wow.
Now that's coming directly from my wife. That's number one. Now you all know that Judge McFadden let McBride leave, okay, and which turned into a huge, cluster F, right, and a shit show, and then this threw everything into a whirlwind because John Gross was my lawyer at that point, and I never hired him for a criminal attorney. I hired, big bad Joe McBride. Now, Joe McBride made McFadden look like an idiot in front of everyone because he had this hearing, and he goes, whoa, Judge, you let me leave without a hearing. This is unheard of. Every lawyer always, or every judge always makes you have a hearing.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Phone call. All right, I'm going to have to call you guys back in 10 minutes. But, so everyone knows that Joe McBride left my case. It threw my whole case into a whirlwind.
Right.
Now, I just talked to you guys about this text message that Maria sent me on July 8th. Keep that in the back of your mind as well. We do the stipulated trial because she tells me the judge wants this to happen. I'm in duress at this point. My wife just told me she wanted a divorce after we've been together for 15 years. I have a son that I haven't seen in 3 years. I'm messed up mentally. Now, what I'm going to explain to you in a little bit is the July 19th, where I tell Maria Rodriguez and John Gross that I want to retract my stipulated trial.
Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Wow. This is another benefit of what we do. This information that these guys tell us on this, we've got a story that's from a source that's going to be difficult for somebody to say, oh no.
Well, I was looking up my notes from his sentencing. You remember near the end where he says, "You're lying, Judge."
Yes.
I thought that had to do with what he was just referring to, but I'm not quite sure.
I thought it had everything to do with that. That was my impression. Timing was off.
Yeah, I mean,
but there wasn't anything immediately preceding that comment that would have been a lie.
Right. Well, you're a menace to our society, and then I wrote down, "You're lying, Judge." So it seems like maybe it's, I don't know. But
Chris doesn't strike me as one that would be responding to the menace to society comment.
You want a sweater or something?
Oh, no, I'm okay.
I want to get something.
He seemed calmer tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
Didn't
remember
he?
thinking he was
Well,
pretty
he did
revved
mention that he forgot it was Friday.
Yeah, but he was pretty revved up before,
Yeah.
Yeah. It absolutely is, Lisa. It absolutely is.
What?
And all for the gain of a few. The whole thing was a setup. From the very beginning. There's been a lot of theories out there about, well, they didn't accept the National Guard, and some of that is true, but then if you pay attention to what Jim Jordan and his crew are uncovering, so the order did finally make it to the National Guard, but they sat on it for 3 hours. They didn't do that by accident. Usually you give somebody that wears a uniform an order, it's, "Yes, sir, roger that, sir." So it's kind of broken. The whole thing is broken. And as I was mentioning to someone just the other day, you start working for a bureaucracy, you can go in there thinking you're going to make changes for the good. You're the new guy. You just got hired. And it takes 8 to 12 years, depending on your personality, for you to become part of the problem you originally tried to fix. So we've got people that have been in a bureaucracy for their entire lives. How much do you think that they actually care about you? They don't. Just saying. It's sad, and we, as a people, we need to figure out how to fix that. Because some of those services, collectively, we need. Much of them we don't. It's awful.
Well, I'm glad he called, and I'm glad that thanks whoever texted or whatever got that sorted out. It might have been Tammy as well that did it. But I guess I should finish reading this from Tim Hale.
Yeah, because Chris at least told us it was going to be at least 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So again, let's see. Knowing our recollection of events at the Capitol would not be told. Knowing we'd continue to be vilified for the narratives of our oppressors. Knowing we lacked any agency while held captive by a hostile regime. Seeing Cynthia on Bannon's War Room, or hearing Julie on the radio while locked down.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
It's Chris.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $59.30. This call is from a correction facility and is
Thanks,
subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hey guys, sorry about that. It was a 3-minute 5 call and a free 5-minute call from Sunday, and it never got used. So we talked about how Maria sent my wife a text. Now we were going through my wife because Maria couldn't get set up in the email on the Origin system because the jail sucks at doing that, and they wouldn't allow Maria to get in with it. So she was sending my wife text, my wife was sending me text. And we had proof of that for a month, right? Month and a half, 2 months, whatever it is. So Maria gets me to do the stipulated trial. I'm under duress. She knows I'm messed up. She tells me that the judge wants this. The judge reached out to her and the prosecution. I actually remember telling her, I want that email. And she's like, I can't give you that email. I can't give it to you. The judge isn't supposed to do that. But I do have the text message, like I said, that says, Maria says, hey, call me at 10:15, call me at 11 o'clock. Hey, this is urgent. I just heard from Judge McFadden. Need Chris to call me at 12:30. Please let me know if this is possible. Now, later that day at 4:37 p.m., I tell her, 3:59, I said, tell Maria and John the only plea deal I'll accept is a misdemeanor picketing, and that's just to get it over with. I said in the beginning, they got the wrong guy. Then I said, tell them that I told them to send in the only plea deal days ago to accept 31 to 41 months to get me home and try to save my marriage. Now that isn't going to be saved, I refuse to back down. F it. Tell McFadden I'm the captain of the ship now. I'm either going to run this ship into safety or crash it on the rocks. The deal I previously offered of 36 months is on the table. Tell Ashley Akers I'll see her in court on Monday. Make sure she brings Brian, who's supposedly their key witness. Now court comes and Maria says, listen, you're going to get 10 years unless you accept this stipulated trial. I'm going to get you home on house arrest. Just sign it. She hands me this thing. It has writing all over it. Cross-outs, this, that, and the other. I don't even really read this thing. I really don't. I have a written copy, written transcript, or not transcript, but a written admission by Stephen Cappuccio, who's sitting at the table saying that I didn't read it. I was arguing with my lawyer. It was all messed up, and he wanted to tell both of us to shut the fuck up because, excuse my French, but he wanted us to tell us both to shut up because we were about to have trials starting, and it should have been done previous. So she hands this to me. She says, I'm going to get you home on house arrest. Save your kid. The judge wants this. The prosecution wants this. I want this. You want this. Everyone wants it. Just sign it. I sign it. I'm still all messed up. The judge, I don't even remember the judge asking me the questions. I just remember a blur. I I remember being so lightheaded I was almost passing out. But I remember saying that this was a mistake and that I should have, I remember instantly regretting it. And I think I even went on the vigil and I said, I instantly regretted this. So fast forward to July 19th, like 9 days later or something like that, 8 days later, something like that. I send this text to my wife. Said, please send this to Maria and John. We have screenshots from the cell phone that prove that both of them got this text message. It says, I have had representation that was either ignorant, inexperienced, or rushed. I expressed part of my concerns in a letter to the grievance board, and eventually the judge was given a copy of it. On blank date, meaning Emancipation Day or Patriots Day, whatever day this is, I had a letter written that expressed my concerns to the judge and expressed the need to go pro se with attorney representation, like Brandon Fellows has. I wanted to be part of my defense. Instead of being able to read it, I was locked in a jail cell, and I was told that there was no court because of, quote, Emancipation Day, which is a made-up holiday. It's a D.C. holiday. I've been told that my lawyer made it clear that I should be there this is in court at the status hearing. The judge said that there was no need to have me there. In reality, this letter should have been enough to have the judge demand a meeting with myself and my current counsel. Now, the judge accepted Maria Rodriguez as my counsel without me being there. I signed my agreement to a bench trial, which while I was being tortured and under duress in Northern Neck Jail, it should be tossed out. That was right around August, and you can look up the August 29th, which is like the cry for help. Okay, briefly, or my daily notes right around August when I went to sign the bench trial. I signed the agreement to a stipulated trial without being told exactly what I was signing. I obviously didn't understand I was giving up my right to appeal. I was handed a stack of paperwork while I was in trial. I was told to read and sign it, and just found out that my wife had told me she wanted a divorce days ago. I was told by my lawyer it was my best chance of getting home as soon as possible. I signed this under duress and wished to remove it. Being that soon I will not have a wife, and that I have a child that doesn't know who I am, having a speedy trial is no longer a need. For that reason, I asked for 2 years to prepare for trial. I also need counsel to help me guide through the law. I will need funds to provide many expert witnesses and a lawyer. I will also need adequate computer access and access to evidence.com, which I have never been provided, and even though I signed the paperwork in front of the judge months ago. For this reason, I asked for supervised release immediately. I am not a flight risk, nor do I have any other quality that would disqualify me from getting released. Please view the Benjamin Fulp interview as evidence of that. The Benjamin Fulp interview is where he literally says, we don't care about Chris Quagland. We will let you go home today if you cooperate with the FBI. The FBI wanted me to give up information I don't have. Because I didn't have any or couldn't provide any, they kept me locked up in a jail and had me tortured for over 2 years. I have detailed documentation of this and asked to present it to you immediately as evidence. I also asked for my previous lawyer to be arrested. He is either stolen and thrown out, stolen as in still in possession of, or lost personal property that can prove my innocence. Thank you, Chris Quagland. And that was sent to my wife, who then sent it to Maria Rodriguez and John Cruz on July 20th, 2023, well within the 14 days to undo the stipulated trial. Now, fast forward, October 9th, I send this to my dad. My wife and I are no longer talking. I said, send this to Maria, please. Expect a grievance with the D.C. court. You broke your oath several times over, and I documented every case in real time. Give me back my paperwork immediately. Tell Judge McFadden that I have wanted to send him a letter pro se for over 2 months in the jail, and my lawyer are fighting me every step of the way. October 17th, messages. Now, I don't know if my dad sent that or not. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. October 17th, messages between my dad and me. My dad says, Maria has officially withdrawn. I said, has she been accepted? Has Judge McFadden allowed her to resign? My dad says, not yet on both. Only application was sent in. I said, because she's a scumbag, you should hear what I have planned for her. Now, that wasn't a threat on her life or anything. What I had planned for her was, I didn't think in a million years, and again, my transcripts can document every bit of this, but I didn't think in a million years, after the mess that Judge McFadden created for himself when he allowed McBride to leave without a hearing, I never thought in a million years that he would let another lawyer leave without having a status conference. But he does. Then he gives me Jerry Smith, who's a court-appointed lawyer, CJA. I tell Jerry Smith about this, say that I can prove it, and he says, all you can do is prove that you sent this to your wife. You can't prove that your wife sent it to the lawyers. And you certainly can't prove that the lawyers received it. I said, but what if I can get that? He goes, you're never going to be able to get it. Move on. It's a dead end. I said, no, Jerry, you can't move on. This is serious. He goes, the only way to do this is the whole you were under duress thing. Now, I know this is sparking, you guys are understanding where I'm going with this because we've talked about it so many times. So then I said, okay, fine, we can do duress. So he has me see this Dr. Flowers. Dr. Flowers then turns around, and this is when I think that Jerry Smith was actually threatened by the prosecution and said, just let it go, let it go, let it go. And you need to tell Quagland just to go with it, and he might, it doesn't stop, and, Trump will get in a little bit. This is exactly what Jerry told me. He goes, Trump will get in a little bit. You're going to get pardoned anyway. Don't worry about it. Well, no, I am worried about it. I don't want Trump to have to pardon me. I want a trial because I have claimed from the beginning my innocence. I've claimed that my arrest has been completely illegal based off of fraudulent information. I have claimed that, I'm certainly claiming that, I'm not convicted or I shouldn't be convicted to 12 years. And since then, the lawyers have come to me, the prosecution and FBI have come to my lawyers have come to me 12 times and said, hey, listen, if Chris cooperates, he's going home tomorrow. I refuse to cooperate with the FBI. I think that McFadden is 100% involved in this. I think he's working with the prosecution. I think that there's some, he was promised some things by a higher power. You know how this government works.
Yep.
Hey, listen, don't screw this up. Play along. You're going to give these guys a hard time. And January 6th was the worst thing in the world. Even though in Phil's case, one of my co-defendants, he said, January 6th was no different than any of these other riots in 2016. And then the media crucified him on it. So I'm hoping that this makes sense to you guys because evidently I'm not explaining it well enough.
Are you kidding me?
My lawyer did not send any of these text messages in the 3,000 pieces of information, which, by the way, she says, oh, I did this, and we did this, and we did this, and we... No, the Northern Neck Patriots did this. All you did was literally take their files, that it was individually, because I'm sure you guys had these, you said in files, and now there's different exhibits with all of these file names. So... I did the last 500 pages, and I gave them to her. She brought them to FedEx and had them digitize them, as I say, scan them in, and put them on a hard drive. And all she had to do is click and drag and click and drag. I'm not saying it wasn't work, but the fact is you guys did all this work with the 2,500 pages.
Yep.
All she had to do is click and drag and then make these things exhibits.
Right.
So, and then the most important 15 pages of information should have been in response to Judge McFadden's 10-page motion that he gave, that's saying if Quagland says that, Quagland, I'm not going to allow Quagland to reverse his stipulated trial now and say that, he perjured himself because perjury is only 5 years in prison, and now he's looking at a 15-year prison sentence, and I'm not going to let him do this, and this is all...
You have 1 minute remaining.
This is all 5 months and 8 months down the road. He's not going to do this. No, the fact is, this proves that it wasn't 8 months down the road. My lawyer didn't do her job. Because I think that McFadden did reach out to her. I think that McFadden perjured himself when he said, I never reached out to her.
Well,
So, I'm asking for you guys to reach out because they're going to send me up to prison pretty soon. I'm going to be inaccessible, and I'm going to send this now to persecutedpatriot@yahoo.com. If you want to interview me, go to the persecutedpatriot@yahoo, send me an email. We can get in touch with you. GiveSendGo is givesendgo.com/persecutedpatriot to donate, or reach out to Tom. He can get in touch with me, but I need to get this to Judge McFadden. As many people email Judge McFadden and send this to him as humanly possible.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
so we always let Chris talk because he's got things that he wants to say. But one question that came to my mind, he said in his sentencing that he never had access to evidence.com. He's been saying that over and over
For
again.
years.
How do we prove that? Because the judge, and I didn't write it in my notes, but the judge said that's not true. You've had access. Well, there must be a way to prove that you do or you don't have access to it, right?
So that gets really difficult because somebody will set up an account. But if that human being doesn't transfer the knowledge of said account and all the authentication requirements to the person who now is going to use that account, he didn't have access, but the account's in the system. Now you can prove that he never accessed it. That much you can prove. That's in there.
Okay. Well, that's something that I think needs to be run to ground because, the judge just completely dismissed that.
Yeah.
And the access, and remember he was talking about you're asking for something that wasn't even, laptops weren't even available before about 2022 or something like that.
Something along those lines, yeah.
I don't know if we need a light, guys, or not. Oh, there's a light.
No, I don't.
Imagine that. There's another light. This is a great campsite, I tell you what.
Yeah, it is.
It is. We should do it here more often.
Yeah, we got 6,000 kbps here, and 16 fps, whatever
I
that
said I'll
is.
bring a sweatshirt.
16 FPS is frames per second,
Uh-huh.
and the kbps is kilobytes per second.
So, yeah, that's
6,000 kilobytes per second is
high.
High. It's just almost 6 megabytes.
What Stormtrooper told me is you want to keep your frames per second above 10, and you want to be at least 1,000 kilobytes per second. So we are doing good.
Yeah. That's because we approved a tower down
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, more towers.
Maybe you can get your jacket. Now I'm getting cooler.
Okay.
Hold it.
Okay, real quick, we'll finish up this while you're doing that. Go to the car. All right, again, Tim Hale, finishing up.
I could have gotten that, but one is what's sent in, right?
Yeah. Seeing Cynthia on Bannon's War Room or hearing Julie on the radio while lockdown gave men the resolve to go another day. I couldn't be more grateful that the Lord provided them to us
You're never going to finish that.
when most of the world couldn't have cared whether we were alive or dead, freed or in chains. I'll never forget our first advocates.
Hello?
That's bizarre. What the bird is?
It's not a bird. It's a squirrel. It's not Whipper. right? Maurice, that's not a bird.
Well,
It's whipper, isn't it?
No, that's a chipmunk.
Chipmunk.
Oh my
Chipmunk.
God, you guys.
It's we thought it was a bird for years and
We
years.
called him whippoorwill, but he's
Alright.
not.
All right. We got a call here, but now it's gone. Wait, is it? Call ended. There was nothing there.
Yeah, we thought it was.
That's a bird.
No,
We
one
call-
evening, I'm telling you, one evening I saw him over at our place. Saw him, or her, it was him, sitting there doing it on a branch. There's a chipmunk. Yes, there are chipmunks around here. They're just not as numerous as squirrels.
That's not a chipmunk.
I'm telling you.
I guess we have to Google what a chipmunk sounds like.
You guys are cracking me up. I don't know if anybody can hear that bird or not. That thing. It starts in the evening.
Yes, and we always called him whippoorwill.
It sounds like a whippoorwill.
And then
If
then
I
we
ever
found
heard
out
a
it
whippoorwill.
wasn't a whippoorwill. It was either a squirrel or a chipmunk. So we have everybody Google what a chipmunk or a squirrel sounds
I know what
like.
squirrels sound like. I don't know what chipmunks sound like other than chip.
It's okay.
There's LA Forgiven. So I got to meet her too. So I met a couple of folks this last weekend, which was really great.
That's good.
What great supporters too. I mean, you guys, you know, you guys have been at those vigils before, and it's just
Yeah.
so wonderful to get everybody together.
Yeah, it was fun that last week. All five of us was there, and not in our best forms, but you know, it was fun being there together, and
It-
at least
it
in
was.
body.
It was.
Well, maybe they hung up. My prediction is they hung up because they realized that if the call went through, we wouldn't be able to talk to them through the 9 o'clock.
I answered, and normally you get this is the
Yeah.
you know nothing came through.
But
so.
that's good because otherwise, you know, it's 8:43. You only have a 15-minute phone call. You wouldn't have been able to do the anthem.
Mhm.
So maybe they said, "Oh shit, wait." That's my favorite word. You should wait 10 minutes or 5 minutes. The geese are coming. Where are they? You hear them, anybody? Hear the geese?
I hear it.
Good.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, what's our next upcoming sentences? I wanted to get that out. There was a couple on the list. I thought I had some. All right, so next week is our Patriot meeting is next Tuesday evening. I mean, everybody knows that, but the following week I had James Grant and Ryan Samsel on the 13th of June. Both sentenced at 10 a.m. They're co-defendants, I guess, aren't they?
That's what I heard.
Hang on.
13th. And then the Virginia Tea Party Summit is on
Ryan Samsel is on the 13th, and
James Grant.
Grant.
Virginia Tea
Oh,
Party.
no.
Let me get this
Good.
out. Virginia Tea Party Summit's on Saturday, the 22nd of June.
James Grant's his sentencing was changed from the 13th, and now it's August 8th at 10 a.m.
Well, Ryan's has probably changed as well. I mean, they're charged together, aren't they? Might want to just verify that.
Put every,
That's okay.
Right, I don't, let's
see
see.
it.
Let's try to find it now.
Ava heard the geese.
She did.
Yeah,
All right, moderator.
I'm moderating.
August. What did I say? 6th? No, 8th. August 8th. James Grant was changed.
So,
And you said who, Samsel?
Yeah.
Samsel's was changed to September 3rd.
So Lala says, Michael just got done speaking to them. So
September 3rd,
I guess we're expecting a phone call maybe.
Samsel and Brian Jackson is August 6th.
So is there anything in June?
Andrew Taki is June 5th. Farhad is June 7th.
That's next Wednesday.
Yeah. Samsel is June 13th. No, that's changed. I just said it was changed. Tony Mastujuno is June 27th.
Okay. Be nice to get to that one on Wednesday,
Yeah.
but that's also the jail board meeting day, and I was telling you I might have to be working that day.
You work?
A little bit longer.
I believe him. Every time he says things like that, I believe him. So I have to say, yeah, oh, yeah, okay. It's not whippoorwill, it's a chipmunk. Anybody who has a good recording of a chipmunk at night or a squirrel, let us know.
Yeah, right.
We did. We drank a lot of alcohol on the deck trying to figure out what it was. We got recordings of whippoorwills, recordings of that critter. They're not the same. I know you would think that it's a whippoorwill because if you don't know and nobody shows you,
Yeah, because we always says, oh,
you're gonna bet on a whippoorwill.
he always says, oh, there's Whipper every night when we're on the deck. And then he went from one side of the house to the other side of the house one night,
And I saw it. It's chipper monkey.
yeah. I'm gonna have to Google it because we have to figure out what does a coyote sound like at night, and
Not a wolf.
yeah,
It is a yapper. Just a ugly sounding critter.
all right, maybe I could put this away again before Tom
sure.
asked me to take it out again.
Who's gonna do that?
Oh, he's getting up. He wants more light. We don't. They don't want to see our faces. Oh, that's right.
Is it? Is it too bright?
It's bright.
Yeah,
It's okay. Close my eyes. I'm wearing Maurice's jacket. Can't even see me anymore.
It's all good.
Is this for me?
Yeah.
All right, cool, thank you.
I did this terrible thing. I not terrible, but I Googled a video of that person,
Okay, Lisa.
and this woman reporter came on,
It is not a squirrel.
and he goes, "Oh, two top, what did she say? Most wanted people." Jonathan Monafone. You know who the second one was?
I'm hiding behind the shadow.
Most wanted, most sought after. Reed Christensen. I got so mad.
Oh yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So, most wanted. Reed, they knew where he lived. They were surveilling him forever.
Well, it was on the video, and they yeah. Well, anyway, I'll forward that video to you. But I was so mad. Reed Christensen? Are you kidding
We
me?
have a
65
phone
year old?
call.
Here we go again.
To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. Your current balance is $57.62. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
Thank you for using Global Tel-Link. Hello.
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 Hello, this is Jonathan Joseph Copeland from the DC Google office. Northern Net.
Yeah, it's Northern Neck. How are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? I received your guys' letter, I think, 8 days into intake. It was really good reading.
Oh, that was my letter, Cheryl. Cheryl Johnson.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
It was very good. The positivity I needed. You know how the intake process is.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. So I believe I'll be walking you guys through the national anthem tonight in about 9 minutes.
Awesome.
Nice. Nice.
So tell me a little bit about you guys. It's the first time I'm kind of new here.
Well, yeah. So we're Northern Neck Patriots. We've been around for about 3 years, and we're in the area of Virginia here, about 2 miles south of DC, 2 hours south of DC, and when the first Jane Sixers started to be into the Northern Neck Regional Jail, we had folks that were writing letters and so on and supporting those guys that way. And then we started having a vigil outside of the jail in October of 2022 is when we started. So,
and you guys still continue?
We still continue. Every Friday night we have a vigil. We've not been at the jail this year because we haven't seen a reason to be outside of that jail right now because there's no J6ers in there. But we're definitely trying to keep tabs on you guys and make sure you get your voices out, and that's what we do, just like they do at the DC Vigil.
Nice, very similar. Well, I appreciate you explaining that. My name's Jonathan Joseph Copeland from Lima, Ohio. I'm facing similar charges as everybody else. The A's and the B's, which is completely overrated and blown out of proportion. But anyway, I came in here on May 8th, found guilty on all 8 charges. There wasn't even a chance. Other than that, I'm just riding this, trying to figure out what's going on with sentencing next and trying to behave and serve my time here as long as I can.
And so when is your sentencing?
Sentencing is going to be September 18th.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So what part of Ohio are you from?
Lima, Ohio. To give you a little background, Donald Trump came there in 2017 and 2020. But in 2019, I believe it was, he funded General Dynamics for the Abram M1 tank.
Okay.
We built it right there in Lima, Ohio. So I have personally worked on 3 or 4 different sites that the Australian $1 billion plant, the Pratt paper mill, there's a GM plant. It was a multi-billion-dollar plant that he personally made deals and funded while he was in president. So I have been lucky to work on these type of things, especially the tank plant. Poured a whole lot of concrete out there.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I poured a whole lot of concrete out there. When he was there funding, I was sitting. We're built around a refinery. We have one of the oldest refineries in the country right now. It is the oldest. We produce gasoline, jet fuel, and cyanide, and all kinds of different chemicals. It's a city of pipes. So I was working there, sitting in a hooch with 3 welders while we were watching the same phone while Donald Trump was getting funding for General Dynamics, which is a pretty big deal because we're all union, The people that run our unions are not the smart ones, but we all support Donald Trump. And as you can see, I supported him fully all the way until, 2020, January 6th.
Right. Absolutely.
So, Jonathan, what do you do? Are you a concrete guy or a carpenter? What do you do?
Well, I just started a company about a year ago it's called TNC Concrete and Excavating. I focus mostly on concrete driveways and sidewalks and whatever specialty items they can come up with, foundations. But I'd rather dig. Excavating is kind of my thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely easier. But when I was a union member, I got silently blacklisted, that's what we call it in the union, where they don't want you to work anymore because of politics, if you could understand why. But I worked on everything from windmills that Donald Trump funded to foundations for super plants and everything but nuclear plants.
Cool.
That's awesome.
So that's what I do. That's all I know. I've only ever kind of worked with my back all my life.
Well, congratulations for having a company, and I hope you can get that. I imagine it's on hold or it's stopped at this point, right? Or is it still working? Is that company still in existence?
It's completely been decimated. It's been decimated, and any chance I could have to build it at that moment was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
But I still have my LLC and my EIN, and we are still a functioning company, But I look forward to returning to that when this is all over.
Yeah. Well, I hope that comes true for you as soon as possible, because, man, it's so important. I know you got 3 minutes. Everything going on here, they're saying that if Biden gets reelected, there's probably another. There's like 50% of the small businesses in this country are going to go under because they're already in arrears with everything that's been going on with this economy. So we have got to get that change. Small business is the engine of our economy, and it's just so important.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. I don't want to talk too much about the case, but I can tell you this. When I mentioned the fact that I was a small business owner, I don't think anybody cared. Just being truthful.
Yeah. Not
Yeah,
surprising.
I'm more than aware of.
Not surprising.
No, September 18th.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of how important small business, and you'd be surprised how many J6ers are small business owners.
Right.
Electricians, plumbers, HVAC guys.
Right.
I met them all. They're all here.
Yeah. Real Americans.
Yep.
Real Americans have done it from,
Yeah, and it's an interesting point. Maybe that's the people that were able to get away because they knew that was an important day. If you're working, for the man, it's not as easy to take off work. But I know a lot of people did that too. So.
I'll tell you what, I come from the union side, and they support Donald Trump. During COVID, they told me to get welfare, and they send all the letters in the world saying vote for Joe Biden. But I was told to go get welfare because I got to work 1,000 hours a year to even get insurance. They failed me completely without an election.
Yeah.
They failed me. So I'll no longer. I've been offered to return, and that's good money anywhere in this country. They pay good, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm going to invest my time or money into it.
No.
But thank you for having me on here, guys. My name's John Copeland, Lima, Ohio. We're going to sing the national anthem here.
All right, thanks.
1 minute.
Each time.
You're welcome. Look at Sean. 1 minute. Sorry, 30 seconds.
It's all good.
Kidding, Chesney. Funny. Luke Bryan.
20 seconds.
Ball, 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 ball. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light was so proud in the air at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. wasn't too bad, was it?
That wasn't bad at all.
Bad at all.
Not bad at all.
Really
Not
good.
too bad.
Nice work.
I think we're getting better.
I think so. I tell you what.
Getting
That's
practice.
yeah.
Lisa says we got to free the J6ers now.
Yep,
Yeah.
Oh, I know it. I know it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know, but we're holding fast. We got hope in our heart.
Yeah.
We got election coming, and they can try to do everything they want to Donald Trump, but I don't think they're going to be able to get away with it.
Nope,
No, I don't
They're
think so.
fundraising $38 million
right?
in 12 hours. They said 12 hours.
Yeah, I'd like to make that kind of money.
Oh yeah, we'd be good.
That's a give, send, go.
Well, they broke the fundraiser platform, right? That's what I heard. That shut it down because it was.
Yep. They broke his website. Yep.
Yeah.
It just broke.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Jonathan, I have a question for you. So I sent you the
Yes.
letter, and there was a Sentinel article about why we say still there. Did you know that's the reason why
Yes, Robert Morris.
That's the reason why we raise our fists to the air, because of Robert. So I didn't know whether
I'm
you
actually
knew that or not.
I'm really close to Angela Morris.
Oh,
She's my hero.
interesting.
She's helped me through this.
Okay.
awesome.
While he was in jail, she was helping me while I was on bond understand this process and what's coming next, and kind of helped me through getting here. Because getting here was the hardest. Having that guilty verdict and then coming back for having a trial, bench trial, then coming back for a guilty verdict. I wasn't ready for all this stuff.
Right.
They arrested me right then and there, but Angela was there for me the entire time. She helped me mentally prepare
That's
in ways
awesome.
that I bet you a lot of J6ers haven't had the opportunity of experiencing. I was always a big supporter of J6ers having mental health, just somebody to be there for their mental health. I think that's the most important thing with them. They just don't understand. They're very lost. They're, depressed.
Yeah,
I was there, and
we hear that
these
a
people
lot.
helped.
We hear that.
Yeah.
That's the most
The
important
most important thing, other than I know money's always an issue, but
Yeah.
really just being there for these guys is most important to me.
Writing
I don't
letters.
think a dollar could save. Writing the letters, the support, being told you're a hero, that's a big deal. I mean, that changed my life. I went from really sad to not sad after hearing all that stuff.
You guys are heroes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what's going on over here.
Oh,
Late at night, Friday night, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry for the noise, guys, but I believe we're going to be down to our last minute of 8 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Time to go. See.
Time to go. I'm a Pink
Well,
Floyd fan.
call back next week. We look forward to hearing from you.
I will. Friday night?
Friday nights.
Yep.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Hey, thank you everybody for having me. My name's Jonathan Joseph Copeland from Lima, Ohio. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Jonathan. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless every last one of you. Have a good one.
All right.
too.
Good night.
Bye-bye
Nice to
now.
meet you.
Good night.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
All right.
So another Jonathan.
Jonathan Copeland. Jonathan Joseph Copeland.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at least one of them's the last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote to him even though he was still in intake, and so by the time he got out, I guess he got my letter. But they always call it my newsletter because I type it.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. So, hey, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We're still here every Friday night. We're going to be here for as long as it takes. God bless you all, and spread the word. Good night.
Good night.
So apparently, I wasn't the only one that saw a bunch of people coming out of the closet and saying they're going to vote for Trump. Because Ava just made a comment about that same thing. You're offline now.
Yeah, it says ending, but it is off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off.
got
So
the-
this is good
it's
because
got the
here we've
circular.
got the bandwidth to work
It's
with.
off.
Yeah.
Now I could sing.